Hello and welcome to the Monday night community race for Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. My name is Rex Raoul. I am joined by Maggie the Cat on commentary tonight. Maggie, it's good to hear your voice again.
Absolutely, and it's good to be here with you, Rex. Welcome to all of our wonderful Free Enterprise fans who are joining us tonight. I'm really excited to be here tonight commentating this race. This is one of our new beta races that we are going to be checking out with a new win condition. We are going to be looking at the dark matter win condition tonight.
Yeah, so what this means is in the game of Final Fantasy IV, 45 chests are going to be filled with dark matter. Dark matter is a useless item. It doesn't do anything in the game. However, we're requiring that the runners pick up 30 of them and then drag them over to Corey's Lighthouse at Agart, and that is how you win the game. Now, with that said, it is absolutely possible. I don't think it's very likely, but it's absolutely possible that the runners will not have to do a single fight. Likely, they'll have to find some of the key items in order to get to some of the dungeons that have more treasure chests so that they can get to that 30 dark matters, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And to complicate things a little bit, we also have not just the K main, but also the K trap flag on, which means that trapped chests could contain their key items. So, of course, some dungeons have trapped chests in them. And so, in order to find some of those key items that they may be looking for that are going to open up other locations that they may need to go to find more dark matter, they may need to open those trapped chests in order to find some of their key items that they may be looking for.
And it looks like we are underway. We have 4 runners that we're watching today. We have other runners who are not being restreamed tonight, but we're taking a look at Gambit, Nightdew, Poidrek, and Datara. And it looks like we start off with a tent as the item that we're given, and we've got Palom and Edward as the starting characters.
Yeah, it actually looks like they were given the magma key there as their starting key item. Now they do have one of their flags that they have enabled is the
starting
kit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not actually too familiar with that, but I was talking with Scalakitty about that right before we started. And so they are going to start with a small assortment of kind of standard items that are going to help them get started. And I think tents and cure potions are included in that.
Now, the magma key does mean that there's a lot more treasure chests open to the runners right at the start of the game. And we see even Poidrek going into a chocobo forest that has a treasure chest in it. So we're going to see some unusual spots for people to take a look at to find these dark matters. We're going to see things that we might not have seen very often, like more in-depth searches of some places like the watery passageway. We might see the Misty Cave be fully explored. Chests like the one of chests in Agart, and we've already seen one of the chocobo forests be looted. The treasure chests that are available in the Black Chocobo Forest up north of Troya are all places that could be looted to find dark matters.
Yeah, absolutely. We're already seeing our runners starting to pick some of them up. I saw Natara pick up one in Dempsey, and I saw Nightdew pick up one in the watery area here there's another one in Barren. So there's 2 available right away in Barren if they decide to fully loot Barren, the Barren town.
Now, if you're watching the restream here, you might see numbers right next to the key item trackers. Scalakitty is being wonderful and doing her best to keep track of the dark matter, the number of dark matters found by each of the runners in those little boxes. So you can keep track of who's in the lead by dark matter count, because that is the real race tonight, right there. There's no zero miss fight tonight.
Yeah, as we said, it's possible that they may be able to go through this entire run without fighting anything, or at least fighting very little. Actually going to Zeromus, I haven't actually done it myself, but I hear that that is not even a thing. You can't even go to Zeromus and fight Zeromus in this flag set. So unfortunately, there's no Z Sprite available in tonight's race.
Right, and with that magma key start, there's a lot more treasure chests, free treasure chests, that are available to the runners right at the beginning of the game. But it looks like both Poydrek and Naidu are at least going to see one fight as they're entering the Misty Cave, and they find Bahamut.
Yeah, Cave Mist does have a few chests here, and this is going to be a very, very easy fight. They'll get a little bit of experience. Bahamut's going to be a super easy boss for them to take out here. Looks like they did find a dancing dagger that they were able to equip on their Edward there, and I'm just going to kind of whack away at him until he falls. I think he's not going to have too much trouble with this fight.
Yeah, as long as they can make it before the Mega Nuke comes off. It looks like it might be a little bit tight, but I think they should be able to do it with that dancing dagger, and sure enough, Bahamut falls. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 chests in the Misty Cave, and so this also might, I didn't see it, they might have been enough experience to get Palom to fire too, so.
I did see another dark matter down on Natara's screen. I believe that she is in the Antlion Cave. That has a lot. Looks like there was one in Cave Mist. So that play is going to pay off for anyone who decides to make that play as well.
Yeah, and Gambit also found one in the Watery Pass too, so.
Yeah, Watery Pass, both this and Cave Mist, not areas that you see our runners go to very often at all in a standard race. But this Watery Pass, especially if they go check out the area behind the waterfall here, has got quite a few chests in even just in the very first room.
Yeah, and there's a decent number of chests beyond it too. If our runners had found something like an exit, they might go deep just to loot this entire place of chests to get as many dark matters as possible.
I see the Natara, I think that's Natara. Yeah, the Natara found a Stardust Rod somewhere. So we are playing with, I think it's the equivalent of T4. So they're finding some very, very high equipment finds in their in the chests that they're looting along the way here. So that's a really, really nice pickup for Palom early in the game here.
Absolutely.
And Natara has successfully taken down Kanyazu there in the bottom of Antlion Cave. That's a really nice... Oh, and finds an adamant armor for her trouble. Not a key item, not a dark matter, but that's going to make the rest of her run significantly easier. Adamant armor being, of course, the best piece of gear, bar none, in the game. So that's going to make the rest of her run significantly easier here.
And it does look like Naidu has gone to the back entrance of the Watery Pass to pick up some more chests there too. So just like being aware of where the chests are and trying to loot as much as possible is the name of the game here. Poydrak finding King Queen Evelyn on the top of Mount Hobbs. Oh, excuse me, this isn't Mount Hobbs. There'd be another character, or unless I've read a flag wrong and there's no dupes.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, there must not be.
Yeah, duplicate characters are not allowed. So they may have... I didn't see what character, if there was one up there, but it may have been a duplicate of either Edward or Palom.
It was a duplicate Palom. Poydrak has defeated King Queen Evelyn, finds a dark matter for that reward right behind it, and now going to check West Mount Hobbs as well. So.
No character, but it's still a pretty good reward for what he had to... That's a very easy fight. Kind of sad not to find it later on in the game, but they may not even have to go to the more difficult boss spots like the Moon or the Summon Monster locations. So, you know, nice to see the easy fights early on here in this regard.
Yeah, I think the places like the Lunar Subterranean will be visited only if necessary.
Natara is going to give us a first look at the Fabul defense fight here. Fabul does have a lot of untrapped chests available to it if they're able to complete this fight. Looks like it's Ashura. This could be kind of a nasty fight if they don't have something that she's weak to. If they have mute arrows or you know, something that she can be weak to, or if they can get her in a like the life lock position, then it might not be too much of a difficult fight.
Yeah, another place that we're seeing Gambit and Naidu that you don't see too often is the back end of Toria. 4 chests back there. Doesn't look like there's a dark matter there this time, but definitely another one of those places with a at least moderate density of chests to check out.
Yeah, definitely fun to see some of these chest locations that you don't get a chance to check out very often. Looks like Gambit is going to go up to the Chocobo Village north of Troya. Not sure if he's just checking. There are some chests up here in the Chocobo Village itself. He could also theoretically go into Cave Magnus and just loot out all of the chests in there without actually fighting the boss at the end of it, since they don't have the harp yet.
Yeah, there's no key item requirement to get into the cave. Oh, and he does find a dark matter in that Chocobo Village, so that's a good payoff. And it looks like he is going to ride that black Chocobo, so wants to check all those chests in Cave Magnus.
Yeah, that's a not too long of a dungeon here, and there's no trapped chests in here. This is a pretty good play, actually.
Yeah, and if you found an exit in any chest, then that would really make it even more quick of a fight. Chest. Quick of a check. That's how I can talk.
Absolutely.
So yeah, remember the magic number is 30. 30 dark matters is what we're looking for.
Yeah, and already we've seen quite a few here on the Overworld. It looks like Gambit and Naidu are already up to 7. So just in the Overworld alone, in the first, what are we, almost 10 minutes in here, we've seen, about a fourth of the required number.
Yeah, and we still have all the chests in Dwarf Castle, all the chests in the back of Tomra, and if you want, the chests that are in Kokol's hut are all free chests in the Underworld. The Sylph Cave and the Land of Summon Monsters are not as free. At least Land of Summon Monsters, the first couple floors are not as free, but there's a bunch of free chests down at the bottom of that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see Natara did get through the Ashura fight and has found already 2 dark matters in the Fabul chests that they're checking so far. Still has the rest that are in the back of Fabul here that they have to check as well.
Yeah, it looks like Gambit did not have any method of using exit, so he is going to have to hoof it out of here, but definitely found a dark matter in there for what it's worth.
Yeah, so not a bad play. I think also got some pretty good equipment that they can use if they'd like as well. Looks like Koidrak is checking the. I thought that maybe they were in Troya. My mistake. They're in Damsian, which we've already seen what's in the bottom of the Damsian treasury there.
Yeah, and I think people have already checked at least the starter Troya chest. Of course, you need the Earth Crystal to get to the big treasure room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zot does have about 5 or 6 chests if they want to check that as well. That's an even longer check than the Cave Magnets, however.
Yeah,
has some chests in there.
Ordeals. I don't remember if you mentioned it or not, Rex, but of course, Castle Eblan has got chests as well, but there are 3 trapped chests that they're going to have to deal with if they decide to make that dive.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting choice to go to the areas that have the trap chests, especially a low number like the Fey March or Castle Eblan. Like, do you go there early, hunt for those dark matters, and just reset? If there is, if you run into a fight that's hard to deal with, or do you wait until you've got enough equipment and a couple levels from these early bosses so that you think that you might be able to actually deal with those fights before you try to do them? I mean, that's the sort of thing that you're balancing out in this sort of flag set.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the trapped chests can hold some progression for them as well. If they find something like an Earth Crystal, that's going to open up that huge treasury that's underneath Troya, which could hold a bunch of dark matter for them as well.
Another key item that's not often really sought after, but it could be very valuable in this would be the Luca key, because that sealed cave has so many chests in there, but it's gated by that key item.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about that earlier as well. Now, I see here that Natara is showing us our first look at the underground. Did use that magma key to open up the path to the underworld and is currently looting out Dwarf Castle, which is another area that we don't usually see a lot of, besides just, talking to the king, doing the boss here, and then checking out the shops. But we're seeing all these chests that Natara is looting. I think she did get a dark matter, but she also got a crystal sword. So if she happens to find a Cecil and decides to go out powder deals, she's going to have a very, very powerful paladin on her hands.
Yeah, but the question becomes like, how much time do you want to invest in getting your characters strong when you don't know how many fights you're going to have to do throughout this season, how many difficult fights you're going to have to do either. If you found something like that adamant armor, you might not need to worry about turning anybody into a paladin.
It's very, very true. It depends on how many of your dark matters you find here in the underground and on the overworld, and if you have to go anywhere else to do any tough fights, like the Land of the Summon Monsters or somewhere in the moon, something like that.
Yeah, it's this is why I'm glad that we get to watch this race that's going on here, so that we can see what people decide to do in a case like this. And we've got a employment dwarf check. I think that was said fitting room attendant.
Looked like something like that, yes. So Natara has validated her run. Very, very nice.
Yeah, always important to see that.
Looks like both Gambit and Nightdew have decided to open up their paths to the underground as well, and are going to be Natara in the underground. It looks like Gambit is going to the peninsula that is used for summoning the rare encounters. It looks like he did pick up a siren, so he's going to do a very small little grind here, which is interesting.
Yeah, this might be to try to help if he decides to do any trap chests. Maybe Castle Evelyn might be something that he's thinking about.
Yeah, with his Palom, if he can get, I don't know if he's going to get enough experience here to get it, but if he can get his Palom even up to Virus, that will definitely help with any future fights that he's going to have to do.
I would say this would almost certainly give at least Virus. It might not be enough for Quake.
Looks like Poydrak is deciding to dive into the Tower of Zot, immediately finds that trapped flame dog chest, which is good if he decides that he wants to just reset out of this, or if he wipes out of this, because then he can just skip this fight if he doesn't want to do it. But he gets a nice 2 off very easily, very quickly, and takes that flame dog down anyway.
Yeah, might have that adamant armor on there. And wow, what a reward, the darkness crystal.
Absolutely. That is quite the reward. So now Poydrak has access to pretty much every part of the game, unless it's barred by some other key item, but he can go to the underground and the moon now if he decides to.
Yeah, that lunar subterranean, with all the trap chests and the dangerous trap chests, I don't think we're going to see that, but somewhere like Cave Bahamut has no trap chests. All of the chests are free. There's only one trap chest, and that last arm chest is a giant. So there's a couple places that are open up to him that won't be open to anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the lunar path that has the what we call the hairdryer's chest in it, if he happens to find an hourglass, he may be able to take that down if he wants some levels or wants to get the chests in there too.
Natara has been clearing out the Bay March, however, finds that warrior's chest near the end, but now on the second time through, knows exactly where the dark matters in here are and the important chests that she wants to pick up. So has that knowledge. It's not going to take her as long to go through this time as it did the first time around.
Yeah, definitely. So skipping most of the chests as we see here, picking up just the ones that have, she picked up that Bahamut, picked up dark matter, and now is going to skip everything else, it looks like, and go down into the town area, and we'll see what she finds down here. That silk web is going to be pretty nice if she has to take any difficult fights later on.
And Noemi asking who's in the lead. It looks like by raw count, Nightdew is a little bit ahead, but it's really close at this point.
Yeah, it's really anybody's game. Just depends on what plays they make and where they decide to go, and what key items they find too. Knight 2 has one extra dark matter, but Poydrak has that darkness crystal, which could give him an edge later on.
And people were talking about. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I apologize for that.
No problem. Looks like now Poydrak is deciding to dive into Castle Eblan and might be wanting to, is feeling brave enough to take on the trapped chests in there.
Yeah, and we'll see. Here we see that Staleman skull fight. I think if Poydrak is, or excuse me, if Palom is wearing that adamant armor, as I believe he is by virtue of all these misses that we're seeing, I don't think he's got a whole lot to worry about the trap chests that are in this cave or Castle Eblan.
Yeah, very true. And he's got a Stardust Rod on, so that Palom is loaded for bear at this point.
Yeah, I would say, barring the moon, basically everything's going to be pretty easy for him at this point.
This is also going to get that Palom some pretty nice levels, so he can probably get Palom Quake if he does all of the trapped chests in here as well.
Yeah, if not, it'll be very close, I think. With Edward being dead, no opportunity to life glitch, however. That is a spoon. And we do, looks like we do have that spoon flag on, so now it might be worth it to raise Edward from the dead. And yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. So now both of his characters are superpowered different ways.
And that does count toward his key items. I don't know if they're even going to get close to getting to 10 key items with this flag set on, but yeah, definitely a nice party going on at this point.
Looks like Natara is the first to climb up Mount Ordeals, checking the chests up on the way, of course, and we'll see. I mean, this is finding that crystal sword that she did earlier. This is sort of like, well, maybe now I want to climb Mount Ordeals just in case I find that Cecil lair.
I don't think anybody has done the Baron Inn fight yet, have they?
No, I haven't seen anyone go there. Now, that might be that they're just not prioritizing characters and key items as much as they are chests. And with that magma key start, there's not a whole lot of reason to hunt for key items at this point.
Yeah, very true. Just thinking that, there are other key items, of course, that can open up other locations, like the Baron Key and Earth Crystal can open up some other chest locations for them as well.
But it does look like Knight 2 is returning to Baron, so we might see that Baron in fight shortly here. Natara finding the Dark Imps up at the top of Mount Ordeals. That'll be an easy fight for her.
It looks like Poydrak found that spoon just in time because he got the triple Mad Ogre fight, which would have been a fairly difficult fight for Palom to take on alone. Looks like he does have some pretty powerful bows and arrows in his inventory, but that spoon is making pretty quick work of them since they are resistant to magic attacks.
Yeah, he's got charm arrows with somebody with an adamant armor on, so Mad Ogres aren't too much of a problem for Palom. The back attack up at the top of Mount Ordeals is the Water Hag. Another one that shouldn't be too tough. Well, it might be a little bit more difficult than initially thought, but I think Natara should be able to squeeze in 3 hits before croaking.
I like her name for Edward, Dead Percent. And Scala updating us that Knight 2 actually has quite a few more of the dark matters than we initially thought. So another thanks again to both of our trackers. We actually have both Scala Kitty and Smapety tracking for us tonight, since we are keeping track of key items and dark matters tonight. So thank you to both of them, and of course to Invenerable for restreaming tonight.
Yeah, these dark matters are not easy to see all of as we're going along, so any help that we've got, and Scala Kitty is providing that tonight, is much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Natara did get through the second attack or second fight up here on Mount Ordeals. So we're about to see what the key item and the second or the last boss here on Mount Ordeals is about to be.
Yeah, it looks like we've got an Evil Wall and Dr. Luge in Baron Inn as well. And here comes that key item for Natara. Just a Dragoon Spear. And we have adamant Baron Inn is just an adamant.
So if we were playing on League flags, then both Knight Dew and Gambit would be partway to their go mode. But unfortunately, that adamant is just a rock tonight. It's not actually doing anybody really any good.
They do get a Sid, though.
Yeah, Sid is a pretty welcome member of this party. He brings at least some hit points to this otherwise pretty squishy party. And they have some pretty good gear for him as well. I saw a rune axe and it looked like a ribbon and some other good equipment with these treasure flags on. They've been accumulating quite a bit of good equipment along the way.
Yeah, and Sid has a pretty good, especially on the armor side, equipment pool. The rune axe being his most powerful weapon, probably the ogre axe being his best overall axe, and his best setup is probably Artemis bow, Artemis arrows, but you make do with what you got.
So we'll see where everyone decides to go next. I don't think that Poydrak actually got any key items that lead to progression in Eblan Castle. He got the spoon, but I don't see anything else. I think one of the trapped chests had a piece of clear in it, and I didn't see what the last one had, but I don't think he actually got anything that had any progression in it, as far as like a Baron key or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right. Which is probably why you see him going into that watery pass, which we saw some of the other runners clear out earlier.
Yeah, I think this area had quite a few dark matters in it, so this is a good play for him. Natara clearing out Baron. She must have skipped this originally, so again, this is a good play for her as well, since she's clearing up on a few dark matters that she had missed originally.
Yeah, it's one of those with this kind of flags that if you're planning on doing some fighting, like Natara has done throughout, you might want to wait until you come to Baron to do that Baron in fight at the same time that you're clearing out that area, just to save time on transport.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like our runners are kind of just overlapping. Rex, where do you think you would go next if you were in their position and you had kind of cleared out the easy checks in the overworld and the underground?
With something like Spoonward, I may throw the adamant armor on him and go into the tower, because as long as he can one-shot the alerts in there, then the trap chests aren't very scary, and won't take very long to get through, and you could do all the chests that are in there. The other option would be in somebody like Poydrak's case, who has that darkness crystal, to head up to the moon or the giant and start clearing out chests there.
Yeah, I was thinking tower as an option as well. I don't think anybody has been in there. And even though there are 4 trapped chests, those are pretty easy trapped chests, I think, at this point with the setups that at least some of them have.
Yeah, they're easy, but sometimes they're time-consuming if you're not able to one-shot them. And I think that's kind of the bar that you need to do. So that's why I say you might want to put that adamant armor on them. Adamant armor plus spoon that we see Poydrak have. I'd like to see that in there. Other than that, I don't know, like, magic on those isn't as reliable as physical attacks I've found, so I might want to wait and hold off on that until I can reliably do them. And Sid might be the answer to it, since we find something like the Zeus Gauntlet. Again, it might be a place where you want to use that adamant armor to ensure one-shotting.
Yeah, definitely. Um, just trying to think if there's anywhere else that they haven't been, but I think that at least someone has cleared pretty much all of the free areas. Someone's been to Cave Magnus. We've seen Ordeals. We've seen all the areas in the underground that are free, even Feymarch, and we know where the trapped chest is there, even if they don't want to do it. So yeah, pretty much they're going to be forced to do something that requires some fighting, whether they decide to do trapped chests along with untrapped chests, or taking on something that's going to give them access to a key item that will then open up new locations for them.
Yeah, and with the trap chest being in the key item pool, that just makes me want to do tower even more if I can get through those alert fights.
Yeah, because then if they do find something that opens up new locations to them, that'll give them just even more options.
Yeah, and what we really like are ones that open up areas that have a lot of trap chests or have a lot of chests available to them. So the Luca key would be a very nice one to see. The Baron key would be a nice one to see. The Earth Crystal opens up that huge treasury in Troya with a lot more chests. So those are the ones that you're going to really want to see, more so than like the Twin Heart, because we already have access to all of the chests in Cave Magnus right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas normally the pan is a great item that runners really like to see because it gives easy access to at least one, if not sometimes two, depending on the flags, access to key items. The pan is really kind of a useless key item in this flag set because it's not going to give them access to any new chest checks, so they're not going to want to see something like that. Even the hook would be a pretty nice find at this point. It's going to open up all of Cave Eblan and Upper Babel, which does have a couple more trapped chests in it, but it does have a lot of untrapped chests available to them as well.
Yeah, the pan is, or excuse me, the hook, as you mentioned, I think is one of these prime items that the runners would really like to see. I think all things considered, I mean, having the magma key for free at the beginning still opens up a lot to you. But I think if you want to go efficient, this sort of flag set actually, I think, makes you want to get that hook more than the magma key, just so you get all those treasure chests along the way.
Yeah, it kind of does. It makes the hook route a lot more viable than the magma key, because it's just what you said. And Invenerable making me think that I'm commentator cursing the runners tonight, because it's pointing out that the pan could very well have another key item like the Earth Crystal or the Baron Key or something like that. So yeah, now just wait until someone finds the pan and goes and turns it in, and then all the rest of the dark matters that they need are behind whatever key item Sheila has.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. There are still the rabbit hole possibilities for these key items that give you those chests.
I saw someone go and peek package, but I didn't see who the character was. It looks like they didn't follow up on it because I don't see anybody fighting Titan right now. Did you catch who it was, Rex?
No, but I think it was something blue on the sprite that came out.
Oh, chat pointing out that the package character was Edge, and it looks like they didn't want to take that Edge. Edge is a pretty powerful character, but since we're not looking at a lot of fights here, they're not wanting to sit through that long cutscene to recruit that ninja.
To answer the question, Walmy, what's the percentage of a chest holding dark matter? Well, there's, I believe, 399 chests in Free Enterprise, and 45 of them hold dark matter. So, and Invenerable, there we go, getting down to the untrapped chest level. But since you don't know which chests are trapped or not trapped, I think the 399 works too.
Yeah, now we're getting down to math. We're talking about math. Inven pointing out that it's even smaller of a percentage because Rat Tail chest and D-Lunar's chests don't count toward that either.
So now we've got it looks like Gambit, Naitu, and Natara are all taking their rounds going through Castle Evelyn, while Poydrak is just now heading to the underground, has been very thorough in clearing out everything in the overworld.
And if his counter is accurate, it looks like he's got 19 dark matters. And if that's all from the overworld, which, you know, it must be if he's not just now going down here to the underground, he only needs 11 more before he's ready, before he beats it. He's checking out Kokol's shop here, which is an interesting check. There are, I think, 4 chests here that he can check, and I don't know that anybody else has been here yet.
I think one of the runners, I don't remember who, but I think I've seen somebody else go to Kokol's before that.
Sadly, sadly no dark matter. Saw a strength ring, which will be nice for Sid.
Yeah, there was also a siren in the back. That might have been where Gambit found that siren before too. So. And since our shop flags are just all you can get in shops are cabins, any sirens for grinding have to be found in chests, or you know, there's a couple monsters you could steal them from, I guess. But you got to go and sit through the packaging to get edge if you want to steal anything.
Yeah, same with hourglasses, which can make some of the trapped chest fights kind of dangerous if you don't have the right setup for them.
Well, that rune axe that Gambit has is going to do a number on these mad ogres, though.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, I think that they have enough resources to take on the Eblin trapped chests. More thinking along if anybody decides to dive Moon or Sylph Cave, but I think that it's too high concentrated trapped chests to untrapped chests for anybody to really want to do those checks unless they get really desperate.
Yeah, Moon and Sylph, I think, are the scariest places to go. But I think the lighter ones like that giant are going to be, you know, somewhat tempting at some point. There's not a ton of chests, but there's enough to make it viable.
Fighting with inventory percent here, since there is so much good inventory available in this game. You know, it becomes in this flag set rather, it becomes a battle of what do you keep and what do you throw out, especially since they don't have a lot of characters right now, and they don't know if they're even going to get any more characters. It looks like, does he even have his Sid? He doesn't even have Sid, so he hasn't even done Baron yet.
Looks like we are seeing on Night Dew's screen the Dark Elf as the first fight in the Dwarf Castle. So this sequence, of course, just like normal, is going to lead to a key item check and a character check. This might open up something that'll give Night Dew the ability to check some more chests. We'll see what that key item is once he completes these fights.
Yeah, looks like he's not having much trouble at all getting through at least the first phase of this fight. Yeah, Spoonward there is just laying into that Dark Elf and Dark Dragon.
Yeah, completing the Castle Evelyn, getting that spoon, and completing the Antline and getting that Adamant armor is going to make things a lot easier. These trap chests, especially in the overworld, and I think even most of the underworld, if they want. I mean, the damage tiles I think are going to be scarier than the trap chests themselves.
Poydrak is validating his run by checking in with the temp job dwarf there.
Thank you very much, Poydrak.
Oh, and we have a Dark Knight Cecil here on Night Dew's screen. So if anybody has gotten that crystal sword and climbed Mod Ordeals and decides to do Dwarf Castle, they can have themselves a crystal sword wielding paladin.
We have a super powerful party, but there's going to be no Zeramus fight.
Yeah. Octoman here, not going to pose too much of a threat. Yeah, goes down pretty easily.
And so that might mean, I don't know if Nightdew's checked the chests on Mount Ordeals yet, but now can check if he wants to get that paladin. He can go up there and check the chests on the way up too.
Well, let's see what this key item is. He may be tempted into something else if he gets anything that is going to lead to even more checks than what Ordeals has to offer.
Ooh, just a pink tail.
Yeah, and we don't even have a hook to turn it in, even if he was interested in it at this point.
That's a shame. Gambit found that crystal sword.
Poydrak found that warrior's chest that others have run into here in the underground. It's right next to that dark matter that's in the set of 3 chests there, so it's real easy to run into. But knows where it is now going to avoid it, and is picking up the rest of the chests here and going to continue on with the rest of the Fey March.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting when people decide to do that, because remember, with the trap chest key item flag on, that knowing where that warrior's chest is, being able to heal up right before it, if you've been able to find a few tier 2s, might be the way to find another key item.
That's a good point. If you don't have a white mage, which we don't have a white mage yet, you have to come down here if you want to do that chest, and you know how do you do that, because you don't have a way to float, you don't have a way to heal because you don't have a white mage, and you don't have a way to get heal items. So that could be a real conundrum if they ever wanted to do that. Fortunately, it might not be required, but that would be a real conundrum if it was.
If you still have some of those healing items from your starting kit, that might be the way to do it.
Oh yeah, good point.
Nightdew is going up Mount Ordeals now, being incentivized by finding that Cecil. Makes perfect sense that he's climbing up here now. Might as well do those chest checks on the way. He'll be disappointed by the lack of a key item up here, but...
Well, he'll get a shiny paladin, a shiny red paladin out of it.
And that'll be maybe the closest thing we get to a white mage in the scene.
Oh yeah, I guess Cecil could heal them up. He technically gets white magic.
And when you're talking about Spoonward, especially with an adamant armor possibility, a tier 2 is usually all that you're going to need.
Yeah, I think all the warriors can do is hit you with physical attacks, right?
Yeah, I think they counter some things with nasty magic, but by default, all they do is physical attacks. But Poydrak is taking it to the tower.
Oh yes, he must have. Does he have maybe lit arrows on his palom? Because he just one-shotted that alarm or that alert with his palom.
Got something good, that's for sure. Looks like Natara wants edge.
Is at least sitting through the cutscene. Yeah. Unless I can't imagine that she's doing this just to check if Demist is in Kaipo.
Well, Natara hasn't done Dwarf Castle yet, so doesn't know that there's a Cecil available, and might think that this Edge might be just the best overall character that she can get at this point.
Chad is pointing out that Poydrak just got the hook out of one of the trapped chests here, so he now has access to even more places that he can check.
And that's a good reason why I like this tower play. I think Poydrak is playing really smart right now with where he's going with what he's given. Now he'll be able to check all of Eblin Cave and the Upper Babel if he wants. If he finds another key item in the sand room.
He's done all this with only the 2 starting characters as well. He hasn't even picked up the Sid that's available in Baron.
Yeah, and it looks like he's at 24 Dark Matters as well, so He is getting close. Four more to go.
Yeah, very close. And I think he just found the last trapped chest that's here. So everything else, he's got a few more chests to go, and all the rest of them are going to be potential dark matter chests.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he even bothers with the boss at the top. I imagine he won't even fight that boss.
Yeah, I think if I was in his position, I don't know that I would be fighting anything else before checking everything that I have access to. You know, this and everything that the hook has access to. I guess there's one more trap chest. I must have missed one. So, but yeah, besides just doing the rest of the trap chests that he has here in the hook route, you don't really need to fight much else.
No, he might do the trap chests in Evelyn and Upper Babel just because he can, instead of resetting out, depending on where his last save is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I probably, I agree with that. Like if he saves and he finds the trap chest immediately, maybe reset out of that. But if it's deep after a save, then probably not.
Yep. And as expected, he gets to that last chest, doesn't find a dark matter, but just starts walking out, not bothering with anything else in here.
Night Dew is right behind Poydrak, going into Tower of Babel as well, going to be finding those key items that Poydrak just found.
Looks like he might. It looks like he's just shy of being able to one-shot the alerts that that Poydrak had no problem with. So these fights might take a little bit longer, but he's going to get that hook right away too.
His Cecil does have that crystal sword on and is going to gain a bunch of levels here since he just upgraded his Cecil. So his Cecil might be able to one-shot them pretty quickly here once he gets a few levels.
That's a good point. Poydrak is now out of the tower.
Natara clearing up some areas in the overworld that she skipped earlier, doing this watery pass check, which is very heads up. We've already seen a bunch of dark matters come from out of here.
Did I see that right? The one chest in Kaipo is a dark matter that Poydrak just picked up? That's crazy.
Is it really? Oh, the pot?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Looks like Poydrak is going to go get the character there as well. Was that
Boron?
Oh, we got our white mage.
My guess is Poydrak is now going to head to Cave Evelyn next. Based on his routing, that seems like the play that he'd make.
Yeah, taking that hovercraft over to the Evelyn continent and is going to be diving down to get those chests that we've been talking about.
Natara now up in Zod is going to be getting her Darkness Crystal. Let's see if she decides to go up to the ruin.
It would be pretty exciting to see a moon play, but it is, pretty dangerous. So not sure that we're actually going to see that from anybody this race.
Well, there is that cave Bahamut. All the chests in there are free.
Oh, that's very true. Poydrak just 4 away from his goal. 3 away now.
Yeah, we are definitely getting close. Night Dew just turned in that pink tail, got another adamant armor for his trouble.
Can never have enough adamant armors when they're available in a game.
Yeah, I think the optimum number is 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when you only have 3 characters, the optimum number is still 5.
Look like Night Dew is once again going to follow right on the heels of Poydrak and go into that cave Ever.
Gambit is in Sylph Cave. Brave move. is utilizing the save point that's midway through here to maybe look for the trapped chests and then just reset out of them.
Yeah, I think without a way to cast float or to heal as much, that's what you've got to do if you want to make this check. It's worth noting that he's only 9 away as well, so he's checking these sort of places as well. Is that a cane that Poydrek sees? I don't think he cares too much about the character at this point, being only 3 dark matters away from winning.
I like how Gambit just kind of casually threw that hero and robe away that he just picked up, like, don't need this.
Now, it is worth noting that the way the beta is set up with this dark matter hunt, you've got a choice when you make your own seeds. You could do it like this and have it be that once you turn in those 30 dark matters, you win the game. You can also do it, you can set your objectives for the reward of the objective to be the crystal so that you still are forced to fight Zeramus afterwards. In that case, places like the moon would be more incentivized because then doing those those trapped chests could also serve as your grind. That's not the case today, so I think that's why like avoiding the moon seems to be what everybody, well, at least the 2 runners that we see who have access to the Darkness Crystal are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, they'd be taking more care to, pick up the items that they might need, like that we saw Gambit throw away an Avenger and a hero in robe, things like that. And also, they might be looking for more characters to optimize their party that they are just not caring too much about tonight.
Now, I've done a couple of these dark matter hunts so far in the week that this beta has been available, and I can tell you, once you get to that 27, 28 threshold, you realize that there's not a lot of chests left.
Yeah, and you only need a few more, so you're like, where can I go? Where can I go to just get a few more of these things? Where haven't I been yet that I don't need to go to like the moon or Sylph Cave to get what I'm looking for?
Yeah, and you go to places like all the Chocobo forests that you haven't been to.
Yeah.
Please, give me a dark matter.
Exactly, yeah. Invent's calling for a Giant of Babel play here.
I don't think that's a very unintelligent play. Although Poydrek just found number 28 here in Upper Babel.
I think there's only 2 chests left, so they would both have to contain dark matters for him to get it through here. And well, one of them's an Aegis shield, so.
Looks like he's healing up. He might be wanting to, or at least saving up. He might be thinking, if I get out of here, I can check the chest in Lower Babel too. There's only a few down there, but decides to reset instead, so probably not going to be making that play.
Ooh, Gambit got a dark matter here down in we're close to the bottom of Sylph Cave. He still has a ways to go, so he's probably making note of where that is so that if he has to reset again, he can just come back for it.
I imagine so, yeah. Yeah, this is I think this is kind of illustrating why I like the tower check more. I mean, it could have been that the hook was in the Sylph Cave, but the idea of you having to walk through everything in the Sylph Cave multiple times just to check all the chests along the way just makes it so that it's such a long process to go through everything to get those dark matters that are available in the Sylph Cave.
Yeah, definitely. And the tower doesn't have as many chests, and the chests are a lot easier, and it doesn't have the dang
The damage
the damage tiles. Yeah, exactly.
But Gambit has finished his looting of that Sylph Cave. He's at 23, so he's got a pretty good number of these chests too, or these Dark Matters.
He's hovering over tower. He kind of went away and then came back, and I'm not sure if he was debating where to go. I don't know where else. I'm assuming he's already been to Feymarch, because I think everybody's been to Feymarch. So
yeah,
not sure where else he was thinking of going. But yeah, it looks like that's going to be his next check here.
Looks like Nightdew made a different choice than Poydrak and decided to fight the fights in the Upper Babel to facilitate a way out that's you don't have to walk out of Babel and Evelyn, and you've got access to this chest down at the bottom of, or like the bottom half of Upper Babel. It's such a weird sort of situation. What do you call that place? And that's 29 for Poydrak. We knew the Choco Butt had a Dark Matter in there that we saw. I believe it was like Gambit who checked that right away. And I think there was at least one Dark Matter here in Cave Magnus.
I want to say, yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is at least one here in Cave Magnus. So if he hasn't cleared this out, then I think this is going to be his 30th. Yeah.
Wraithen 5, we did see Gambit did loot this out, so I think there will, if my memory served me, there is a Dark Matter in here. So if my memory is correct, then he'll get that 30th Dark Matter and we'll book it out of here. And Nightdew has activated the Falcon. Something you don't see very often on a seed where you start with the Magma Key is going through that entire Upper Babel.
Yeah, definitely. At least they were pretty easy fights to get down in here. All the rest of our runners are very, very close. Poydrak in the lead currently, but everybody else is very, very close to each other.
And there it is, Dark Matter number 30 for Poydrak. Poydrak is now in go mode. He needs to get to Agard as quickly as possible.
I like Scala Kitty emphasizing with all the exclamation points how Poydrak found the 30th Dark Matter there. No, apparently that was invulnerable. Okay.
Yeah, as Mac Frost didn't even use the Darkness Crystal. Yeah, not if you can get all of your Dark Matters without having to activate that big whale cutscene, that just saves time. And here we are in Agard.
Trying to crush Agard first before he actually goes and turns those Dark Matters in.
All objectives complete. And GG's to Poydrak.
And
I believe he's first place overall.
Yes, we see the dot done, and he has finished with a time of 56 minutes and 50 seconds. So GG to Poydrak.
Yeah, getting that done in under an hour. Very well done. Very well played. And we'll see if we can get Poydrak in for an interview.
And meanwhile, we see everyone else is in pretty good shape here. They're just kind of overlapping what everybody else has done. And I think that we are now joined by Poydrak. GG on your first place finish.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I wasn't too far ahead either. Not really surprised in this type of flag set doesn't leave much to be. I expect these finishes coming thick and fast now.
Yeah, that may be, but you were ahead. You got that. I think one of the most interesting thing is you found that darkness crystal relatively early, but you didn't want to have anything to do with the moon if possible. Is that right?
No, mostly because there's enough on the Earth to actually get the 30. From all my testings with this, you will get 30 on the Earth. You will not have to go to moon at all. The only reason you might want to go there is if maybe Teller was in the lunar spot, but you wouldn't want to risk it all on that.
And that tell for access to the exit spell. Is that correct?
That is correct. Teller is, in my opinion, the star of this particular flag set. We didn't get to see it because of this, but that early exit allowing you to just get out of those long-winded dungeons is amazing. And it's strange that you're relying on Teller, someone who is overlooked a lot in the past, but in this he really shines.
Well, Exit Mage definitely has his uses, and he really shines in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you really want to do as few battles as possible, right? That's kind of the mantra of this particular flag set, right?
It is, yeah. You want to do as little as possible. Find the key items you need to actually open up places. Me finding the hook in the tower. Lots of people will just get out of reset out of trap chests. I wanted to do that because I knew I still needed a few places opened up. The hook opened up the cave Babel, and which had a couple in there. I was hoping to get exit from the four Mad Ogres for Porum, but it unfortunately didn't quite have enough experience for that. Just to get out easier.
Yeah, there was at least some question as to why you were fighting that Mad Ogre's chest, but that makes perfect sense as to what your goal was of doing that chest. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I am a little bit surprised that I did get the win out of this, because I felt slow to start off with, because I went in, although I had a sort of route in mind, it felt slow at the very start. It sort of sped up as we went along, but it still didn't feel fast, so I'm a bit surprised. But
I think what it might have gone down to was your thoroughness. A lot of people, I think, especially with the Magma Keys start, kind of shuffled in between the Overworld and Underworld and doing things where it seems like you went more methodical in clearing out most of that Overworld, then clearing out most of the free stuff in the Underworld. And then when you were ready to do the tower, you did the tower and unlocked things from there. And so I think that may have been what gave you the edge tonight.
Yeah, it is quite possible. I did set out in mind to just clear one section first. Don't leave don't leave it until later. Do it.
Right.
And then move on. So all of Overworld, all of Underworld. Once I had all of Underworld done, then moved back up, do what I had left on there.
So if we did a similar one, where instead of just winning the game from completing the objective that you did with the dark matter, but instead you were given the crystal, how would that change your routing at all? Would you do even more trying to do trap chests?
I would likely keep actually look or keep some of the better gear that I gave. I put a lot in the trash. Keep a lot of the gear. Actually, go and do those key item checks. I got the package in that. That's a character that we could have picked up. I had a fair good base with Palom, Edward with a spoon, and Kane. One more character would have just filled out that theme, and then got me to Zeromus levels if I just stuck with it.
All right.
But if the fact that it's a win condition to just hand in the Dark Matters rather than getting the crystal changes a whole lot.
Sure.
If it was crystal, you wouldn't be able to do many of the plays you can do with just a win seed.
Well, did you have any other thoughts on this flag set, or the beta in general?
The beta is looking absolutely amazing right now. I'm enjoying enjoying the objectives a great deal. That's the biggest change. Well, it's one of the two biggest changes: the objective system and the changes in the items. I've always said, Ed, since the beta came out, people have got to adjust their thinking. You cannot sit on what knowledge you had before. Items are completely different in terms of price, in terms of where you're going to find them, how you're going to find them. If you can build up your mind on that, you'll be fine. But it is a bit of a learning curve.
Well, sounds like we've got a whole lot of homework to do then.
Oh yeah.
Once again, congratulations on your first place finish in tonight's race. And thank you for letting us watch, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, and have a good evening, everyone.
And that was Poydrak, GG on his first place finish. And while we were speaking with Poydrak, we also had a second place finish. Asmati Games came in second place with a time of 57 minutes and 58 seconds. So GG to them.
Absolutely. And so now it looks like all three of our other featured runners are very close in that dark matter count.
Yeah, definitely. Gambit has 23, Night Dew has 25, and Atara has 22. So it's a really tight race here to see who's going to come in second out of our featured runners. Looks like all of them are kind of clearing out what we've already seen. It looked like Night Dew was doing the Sylph Cave, but was taking on some of the trapped chests in there. Maybe looking for some other key items like the Earth Crystal and the Baron Key that we've talked about. I don't think that he actually found any of them, unfortunately.
I think it might have been a combination of that and the fact that he's had a Crystal Sword Avenger Adamant Arbor Cecil and didn't really care about what any of the monsters could do to him. So
very, very true. With that kind of combination, yeah, you don't have to reset out of that. Yeah. We also saw at the top here of the Tower of Babel, rather, that there is a Golbez, which I think that it was a very heads-up play for Poydrak. He didn't even see this Golbez, but he skipped this fight altogether, which I think was a pretty heads-up play because this is a pretty long and annoying fight to have to get through. It's going to give you.
Well, and remember what Poydrak said. It's about not fighting fights. That's the key to getting it. And I think that's kind of, I think that sort of strategy that he had is part of the reason why he was able to be so successful in this race. Now, of course, this is all new to everybody, so I wouldn't expect everybody to have well thought out strategies for how to tackle this particular flag set. But he said he did some practice seeds, and I think that kind of helped him learn what he needed to do in order to be successful in this. And avoiding places with high HP like the top of the tower, I think is definitely part of that.
Yeah, definitely. This is avoiding boss fights and avoiding key item spots is like against every free enterprise racer's better judgment. Like that's just not what you do. So I think that everybody is just like it's in their gut, it's in their instinct to do this kind of fight. So to skip it and to not do it is it's just not something that they're thinking cognitively of doing. So that's probably why everybody else is doing these kinds of fights.
I know even opening chests is something that a lot of the top runners are not used to doing throughout large parts of the seeds as well. So Like this is just a very difficult, or not difficult, but very different way of playing free enterprise than we're used to seeing. So I think it makes it really interesting to see people doing things that are just so vastly different than that.
Different, and then by virtue of it being different, difficult to like wrap your head around how to actually do it and do it well. Yeah, of course.
I think a flag set like this, once if this was, say, an event if there was going to be another World Series of free enterprise, and they did this particular flag set as one of them, I think we can see times that are even considerably better than Poidrax be the norm once people are more used to working with it. Like if they're given time to practice and everything like this, people will just be able to cut out even more fights between it. And remember, we started with Palom and Edward, which is not a very strong duo, especially at the very beginning of the seed. As when you get later in there, you get Palom's magic, you find that spoon, they're very powerful. But right at the beginning, that's a very weak duo.
Yeah, absolutely. If they start with something like a Sid is often considered, one of the strongest characters, or if characters aren't gated, maybe start with like an Edge. You could clean up a seed like this even faster. So yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting to see not just this, but like you and Poidrack were talking about in the interview, just all the different things that the beta can bring as we start to see some of the other flags and seeds that the beta is going to be bringing out here.
And also another thing to remember, what Poidrack said in the interview, how the most important character in this particular flag set is probably Tella.
Tella, who is, often considered one of the worst, if not the worst, characters in this game. Yeah, look how much value he's going to have in a seed in a flag set like this.
Well, he's not the worst. I mean, he's definitely not better than Yang. But other than that,
okay, touche.
Hey, I gotta be on brand at least from time to time.
Absolutely.
So now we see both Natara and Night2. So by doing Sylph Cave now, after they've recruited Cecil and have a way to do a little bit of healing, makes it so that you don't need to reset after every single trap chest that you're doing, like we saw on Gambit's screen. So, of course, Gambit didn't know that there was even a Cecil available at that time. So, you're working with what you've got. But this is going to make that Sylph Cave a lot easier, a lot less resets, a lot less having to remember exactly where they were. Now, I don't know. This is another one where I'm not doing the math. It might be faster to do the reset and do what Gambit did instead of taking the time to deal with like these ghost fights.
Yeah, these ghost fights are a pain anytime you have to deal with them because of all the animation time that they spend casting these spells. And with a limited J items available, the easier way to deal with them is if you have a mute bell, you can use that at the start of the fight and then won't be able to cast their spells. But since there's no items in shops, the only way you're going to find that mute bell is if you happen to stumble upon one in a chest. Kind of good luck with that.
Yeah. But like even without the animations, you see how long it takes for all these tiny toads to go and do their script. And with just Cecil there, those toads are going to be able to croak multiple times.
Yeah, I'm wondering where, I'm trying to think of where Poidrack went, that he got all of his dark matters that the others have not gone, that they're doing Sylph Cave, that Sylph Cave is like a better option that they maybe have forgotten or that they've missed that Poidrack has gone to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they are either, but like I said, I think it was the thoroughness. Like he was very certain I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, and make sure that all of them are done. Whereas, we just haven't seen quite that dedication to clearing out everything in order, because I think a lot of the other runners, especially with that Magma Key start, were more drawn to the places that had higher densities of free checks. Like we saw a lot of the runners go underground relatively early to go see that dwarf castle because there's just so many chests in there. Whereas Poydrak was patient and didn't even was by far the last of our restreamed runners to turn in that Magma Key and go underground because he had a plan, which was clear out all these overworld checks before going there.
Yeah, definitely. And as chat pointed out, diving into some of the dungeons that would require a key item to complete, but don't require a key item just to go into them, like Tower of Zot. And we know that Poydrak went in there early because he was the first one to find that darkness crystal, which was in the Flame Dog chest. Doing something like that, but not actually beating it, either because you can't if you don't have the key item, or like in the case of doing lower Tower of Babel, he just decided to skip the boss there. That's again just like a really heads up play that he did.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of basically the difference between where they're at and why. Like the thought process is like, oh, there's lots of chests in Sylph Cave, I better go there next. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Now, I did see here that Natara just picked up the Baron key from Sheila. That must have been the Sheila 1 check because Natara doesn't have the pan. So that's going to open up quite a few more chests for her if she decides to follow up on that next. And yeah, we see her taking the Enterprise right back over to Baron. And so this is going to open up the shop in Baron if she decides to open it. Not sure she will. It'll open up the item shop, the weapon shop. Yeah, it looks like that's where she's going. That does have a couple of chests in it. And then, of course, the Baron Waterway has a bunch of chests. All of those are untrapped. And then if she gets into Baron Castle, there's lots of chests in Baron Castle that she can check as well.
Yeah, this Baron key is huge, and it might have the 5 that she needs in order to complete. That's still a pretty high number, even though there are a lot of chests in there. But there is a possibility. It looks like Night2 has found that Earth Crystal is now going to go raid that huge treasure room down at the bottom of Troya.
Yeah, both of these are fantastic finds for these runners who maybe have missed a couple of the other locations earlier on in the game.
We got one so far on Night2 is in this room. It looks like that's it. So one more. But he's up to 28 overall, so he is very close.
I don't think Night2 has done Eblin Cave yet, has he?
I thought he did because I thought he was following Poydrak. Yeah, he went down and completed it and got the Falcon.
Yeah, that's right.
And Maggie, I'm going to leave this to you for just a moment. I have to step away for a moment, but I'll be right back.
Absolutely. It looks like Night2 did Eblin Cave, but he didn't ever do. He's going to go up here. We know that there's at least one dark matter up here, if not two. So he's going to be very, very close after completing this dungeon. And we see Natara is going through the Barren Waterway. I missed if she got any in here, but she's very close behind too at 26 now as she makes her way into Barren Castle. She is going to have to fight the Beigen spot here to get to the rest of the treasure chests, but that shouldn't be very difficult at this point in the game. Gambit, meanwhile, making his way through one of the trapped chests. This looks like the trapped chest in the upper tower of Babel. And it looks like Nightdew did find the dark matter chest that is here in Zot. We'll see if there's one more here or not. I can't remember. And we see a vanilla Baigan waiting here for Natara in Baron Castle. And rather than going up to visit the king on the throne, Natara is going to be raiding out this treasury that's available here. Lots of chests. I think Invenerable said there's 20 chests here in Baron Castle, so hopefully she'll get a few more toward her goal. There's one.
All right, thanks, Maggie. I'm back now.
Oh, welcome back. So Nightdew just finished up Zot. He didn't actually fight the boss, but he got all the chests here, and he's one away from his goal.
I don't know if he's been up to Chocobut area yet. So that might be where he goes to finish this off.
And now Natara is just one away as well, as she is clearing out all the chests here in Baron Castle. I think she's found at least 3 in here.
Yeah, this looks like a very good Baron. She only needs one more. And Nightdew is up in the Chocobo Forest. Does he check the Chocobut?
Trying to find the way through the secret passage here. If you're not, we don't usually check these spots as runners. So yeah, accidentally walking out. I've done that before. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
He's probably gonna walk out again. Yep.
That's twice.
There he goes. I think he's got it this time. Yeah. There it is.
And he's gonna ride that Chocobo back to Troya.
Very
and then
nice.
fly on over to Agard. GG's. Nightdew's gonna be finishing really shortly.
Natara is checking out who is on the throne here in Baron Castle. It looks like we've got the Baron Guards have usurped the king today.
Yeah, I don't know. I think walking out might have been a little bit better for Natara here, but we'll see about this. All objectives complete for Nightdew. GG's.
GG to Nightdew for coming in second of our restream runners. He actually has come in 6th place overall. We did have several other people who have finished in the meantime. It looks like, let me scroll up here and see who else is. Pizza 34 came in 3rd with a time of 1:05:53. Flurry 14 came in 4th with a time of 1:08:16, and then Dragus came in 5th with a time of 1:20:33. He just beat out Nightdew, who I believe just joined us. But GG Nightdew on your 6th place overall finish.
Thank you very much.
So that Chocobo kind of led you astray a little bit right at the end, huh?
Not so much as my subscription to the Couch 23. Hey, let's skip the inline. Nothing could possibly be there.
Oh, sure, yeah, that adamant armor, yeah, that was a pretty nice prize waiting for you where you didn't go right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you think about this flag set? This was a lot different than what we've normally been seeing on our races.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to go back and watch the VOD on this one. I've never actually ran a Dark Matter hunt, and I'm feeling like halfway decent about myself up until about like finding about 20, 21, starting to run into that, and that's why I kind of went for that Cecil there. I'm thinking, okay, Crystal Sword, you got the Adamant Armor soon after, finally, and I'm thinking, okay, we're not really going to need to like fight much here, and Adamant Cecil can just solo his way through like everything, and then it's like, okay, I find Hook, and then I just like keep like finding reasons not to keep diving Sylph, even though like I swear like I'm like the Earth Crystal has to be here. Did anybody go to the moon?
No. Poydrak was the first one who found the darkness crystal, but nobody has actually raised the big whale yet that we have seen.
Okay, I was kind of wondering. I'm like, and my routing was kind of weird. I'm thinking, well, let's bounce out of lower Babel, like first floor to lower Babel, like that hook again because I have a Pigtail already, and let's just dive that hook route. Something I'll definitely love to see a little bit more of. Or if more of it was on the moon. I was kind of actually hoping some of it was, because at that point maybe the play gets a little bit better for me. But a very, very darkness crystal might have put paid to that one.
Yeah, we were talking about like all the different ways that different routes that people would take, and Poydrak did find that darkness crystal really early on. We were wondering if maybe someone would dive into Giant at least, because there's only the one trapped chest in there, but we didn't actually see any plays either in the Giant or on the moon. But we did see several people go into Sylph Cave, and I think that you probably had the best setup for that with your Crystal Avenger wielding Cecil.
I would have left the Avenger just straight up on him, had he been able to one-shot all the ghosts. I probably didn't. No, I didn't back row him. Of course, I don't think I kept any bows. I was mashing that R1 button through most, but I'm like, I don't need this stuff. Just give me the dark matter.
Just a moment, I want to mention, Natara has found her 30th dark matter, but it looks like she doesn't remember which NPC in Agart to talk to. So she should be finishing before too long. But she's got to talk to some people first, it looks like.
Yeah, she's in Agart and she's talking to every NPC, but she doesn't remember where Corey is, it looks like.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have earlier. I caught the real back end of somebody's stream where I'm like, why are they talking to the guy in the observatory? Oh, okay, I see now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So do you think, is there any... Yeah, now she's made it. Is there anything you think you would have done different, Nightdew, after you played one of these flag sets once?
Other than don't skip Antlion. I mean, I'm not even sure why I did, honestly. I'm like, okay, let's go over to Hobbs. Here's the duplicate Quake Kid. I've already got a Stardust Rod. It's not like I was lacking for offense down there. I'm just not sure why I blew by it.
Well, it's never anything important until you skip it, right?
Of course.
It's the same thing with ordeals.
I mean, there was one up there.
Well, I want to thank you for letting us watch your stream tonight. Did you have any final thoughts about this particular flag set, this seed, or the beta in general at this time?
Just something that, beta's actually been just a ton of absolute fun. All this new stuff, it has breathed more life into something which has already had quite a lot of life to give already. I have nothing but awesome things to say about 4.0 and the dev team that brought it to us. So yeah.
All right. Well, GG's once again, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
And that was Nightdew14, GG to him. And I believe that we are now joined by Natara, who has come in 7th place. So GG Natara.
Thank you. I realized an important part of these flag set is knowing who or what Corey is. I was like, where? Oh, hold on, why didn't I win? I met the objective. Am I supposed to bring these somewhere? So I had to bring up the page, and it's like Corey and Agart. So I got Agart mixed up with Tamra. So I went to Tamra, and I'm like, wait, this is Tamra. So I left immediately. And then I had to talk to literally every person in Agart before I found Corey. So I would have saved 2 or 3 minutes had I known who Corey was.
Well, now you know, so that when you enter the World Series or whatever y'all have planning for this in the future, you know where to bring these to next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so I do think that if you were planning to bring him to the employment dwarf, I would have been very happy with that too. I would have counted that as a win.
I would have too, but Inven told us multiple times you had to get the objective completed or it doesn't count. And I was like, but 30. I got there.
Well, I guess we can blame Inven then.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I mean, hashtag blame Inven is what we do, right?
Absolutely. Also, going through Sylph Cave with low levels, no healer, and resetting all the time at a trap chest is the worst experience ever, and has now strengthened my resolve to always skip Sylph Cave. Especially because I had access to Porm, but by that point, my levels were high enough. I was like, nah, I won't need her, and then Sylph Cave. So, you know.
Yeah,
was
that's
fun.
okay. Maggie's my teammate, and I make them do Sylph Cave anyway, so I think that's the way
Yeah.
to go.
I'm usually the one who does Sylph Cave and my 2v2 with Rivers. He's too busy checking the moon, so I get Sylph Cave, and I swear a lot.
Thanks, Rex.
They're true pals.
Absolutely.
So did we find a Cecil anywhere in that seat somewhere?
We did. There
we
was
did.
one in the Dwarf Castle.
Okay, gotcha. I did
I know
not
you
complete
found that-
Dwarf Castle. Oh, and
You
there's a
found that
pigtail.
crystal sword.
Yeah.
Pretty early too, right?
Yes, I did, and I had some other pink gear, or sorry, crystal gear as well. So I was just kind of like, anytime now.
So that Baron Castle was really loaded for you. You found like what, 4 between the Baron Waterway and the Baron Castle once you got
Yeah.
that Baron key?
I found
That
a
was-
lot. That Baron key was great. Well, it was one of those high item like location spots, so that's why I was like, I was actually getting ready to go to the moon next because I'd had the darkness crystal for ages. So, but as soon as I got that Baron key, I was like, nope, we're going there first, and I do not regret that decision. It was very smart.
Yeah,
We
that
were-
seemed good.
Yeah, we were waiting for someone to find either an Earth Crystal or a
Oh my gosh.
Baron Key. And Night Dew found the Earth Crystal right around the same time that you got the Baron Key. And there was only one in the big treasury in Troya from the Earth Crystal. So you
Where-
really
Yeah.
paid out from getting that Baron Key.
Absolutely. Where was the Earth Crystal?
Where was the Earth Crystal? Rex, do you remember?
I want to say it was in Sylph Cave.
It must have been because that's what he was doing. Yeah, and that's what Night Dew's saying in chat too. Yeah,
So
it
that
was one of the
means-
trap chests.
That means there's really close to the Baron key as well, then, because that was the Pan turn in, or not the Pan turn in, the Sheila 1 turn in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, great. Well, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. And I will make sure in future to make sure that everyone knows who and where Corey is and fully read on the sets. It's great. Oh, apparently I got 2, 3, 4 out of 399 chests.
That's good, and that's good that we all know where the objective is now that we've seen one of these races done at least once.
Hey, it's the best way to learn it is to miss it like 3 times.
Oh yeah.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to share about this particular flag set or about the beta in general?
No, I will say I'm really enjoying the beta. It's only recently that I'm starting to get a chance to play with it, and expect some more fun weekly seeds coming up as we play with the different options. As soon as I saw I could have like a dark matter flags without and make it, Nose de Romus, just once you get those, you're done. I was like, yeah, we got to run that. We got to try that out.
Yeah, it's a very different way of playing, and I think that's
Mhm.
just like we've got a very replayable game here in Free Enterprise, just as it was before, but now it's just even more so. It's so great. I agree with everything you said. It's just so much fun with playing this beta.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and for volunteering and for doing your lovely restream stuff. And I will leave you folks to it.
Thanks to GG's Natara.
Yeah, thank you.
And that was Natara. Natara had finished in 7th place with a time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 11 seconds. So GG to her.
And Gambit is 1 dark matter away. Scala Kitty, Gambit's already gone to the Chocobot. He was the first one there.
But I'm pretty sure there is one in here that he hasn't gotten. He gets that chest that's in here. I think he'll get it, unless he's already gotten it. I thought that there was one more in here.
He's gotten 1, and I think that's the
okay.
only one. So, yeah.
Meanwhile, we do have an 8th place finisher. Neon Gray came in 8th place with a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 30 seconds. So GG to them. And to answer Night Dew, there were a total of 4 through the Baron Key. 1 was in the Baron Waterway, and then 3 were in Baron Castle.
Yeah, the Baron Key really paying off big. And that's one of those where it's like the Sheila 1 check might not be one that is as incentivized in general, because other than like a potential rabbit hole key item like we saw from on Natara's side, it's not a priority because it's not going to give you directly to that dark matter.
Gambit kind of hovering. Oh, apparently Gambit has 30. Is that Invent updating our tracker?
But yeah, but I think Gambit. I think I saw in the chat at one point, Gambit's personal tracker might have been off by 1. So that's 31, but that'll do it.
Okay, there we go. He went to Kaipo and got the 1 in the pot. So either way, he's got 30 now, and now all he has to do is go turn them into Corey.
Oh, he had fixed it earlier. Okay, I'm sorry about that. And now he is hightailing it to Agard. While he's walking there, I just want to give shout-outs to Invenerable, who's doing the restream today. Smapty, who's been tracking the key items, and Scala Kitty, who's been a real big help with these dark matter hunts. So big GGs to them. Even if they're not playing, they're part of the game. And we have all objectives complete on Gambit. Also, shout out to Maggie the Cat, my partner in crime tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much to our restream team, and of course to Rex for commentating with me tonight. Normally we do our 2v2 races. We haven't had a chance to do that in a very long time. So always a pleasure to work with you in the commentary booth.
All right, let's see if we can get Gambit in here. And I think we've got him. Gambit, GG's.
Thank you.
So tell me how you feel about this sort of flag set. It's a lot different than what you're used to, I imagine.
It is. It's very different trying to find dark matters than it is just going through regular game and beating bosses. I still can't believe I forgot to check the Troya Treasury. It dawned on me as I was doing Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just avoid that Troya Treasury, find that crystal. But even without it, that gave you one of those very important near the end dark matters for you. So, yeah.
Yeah, finding it and then finding that last one in Kaipo kind of saved me because I was not looking forward to having to go hunt on the moon. But thankfully, I was able to find it before going and swallowing the whale and having to go up there.
Yeah, and you just made it so because you found that one in the pot, none of the 4 featured runners that we saw today even touched the moon. So you were all able to complete it without having to go through that big whale cutscene. So GG's to all of you for that.
That's good to know. Yeah, GG's to my fellow runners. It's an interesting flag set, but it's very fun and very, again, out of the norm, which makes it a lot funner to race.
I think, Gambit, that you were the first one who actually dove into Cave Magnus, and nobody had found the harp. So I think that was a very heads-up play to go in there and do those do those chests without having the key item, and recognizing that you could get those chests without having to actually complete the dungeon itself.
Yeah, I chose to go ahead and I kind of decided to just do a loop around the world. And since I was up in that area anyway, I was like, let me just go ahead and check these chests, see if I find anything useful. And I knew I didn't have exits, so I knew I had to walk it out. But to me, it was worth it. Just if all I'm looking for is dark matter, let's just go in there and see what I find.
Yeah, and I think that lack of exits was something that mired all the runners tonight. Wanting to be able to get out of places faster is something that, like, I think people were praying for Attila.
I said, I never checked the Kaipo bed. Did anyone else check and see who was there?
It was a Porum, but by the time most people got her, they didn't take the time to get her up to get exit.
Or float, for that matter.
True. I know I saved scum the crud out of both the Sealed Cave, or not Sealed Cave, the Cave of Summer Monsters and Sylph Cave.
Yeah. And it got me to thinking, because we saw a couple of other people go into something much later, and by that time they had decked out. They had like a Cecil with a crystal sword and adamant armor, and so they were able to kill the monsters without a problem. But it left me wondering if your reset strategy might have actually been faster than having to deal through all those ghost animations, and I'm not sure. The way that you did it might have been the right way.
Oh, I just didn't feel like doing the 3 bosses up ordeals. At the time, I didn't have a Cecil, didn't see a tell at all. So I was like, there's no point in doing these bosses because it's not going to help me in the long run at the current moment. So I was hoping I wouldn't have to fight too many bosses for key items anyway. So it was rather, let's save scum, reset out when I need to, and go from there.
All right. Well, do you have any other final thoughts on this race tonight?
Not really. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Just check all the chests you can and see what you find. Thank you guys for commentating and for the rest of the Restream crew and my fellow runners. Good GGs. And thank you guys for having me run the Restream.
All right. That was Gambit. GGs to him for finishing tonight's race. And it looks like we are going to head on over to our partners over at Randomania. They're playing Zelda 1 Randomizer in the tournament. So we're going to go ahead and go over there. Once again, big thank you to everybody for watching. Our 4 Restream runners, make sure you give them a follow, and our whole Restream crew, Invenerable, Smakey, Scala Kitty, Maggie the Cat, and myself, Rex. And we hope you all have a good night tonight.
Thank you all for joining us. GG to all of our runners, and have a great evening.